Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game preview to our upcoming Premier League fixture against Arsenal at Goodison Park tomorrow afternoon, 12:30 kick-off, taking on Arsenal. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, of course. Mikel Arteta has been announced as the manager of Arsenal Football Club a little bit earlier on today. Now, I don't know whether he'll be taking charge of the first team tomorrow, obviously, because it's quite a quick turnaround. He's literally just signed the contract officially a few hours ago. But I dare say he'll be at Goodison Park to watch, both of his ex-teams and the team that he is now taking charge of as a manager. And, it was always a toss-up, weren't it, really, whether he'd come to Everton or Arsenal, play for both clubs. He'd be rumoured to be involved in, the negotiations to become the next Everton manager, but he did decide to go to Arsenal, and I think a lot of us will be a little bit happy about that, considering who it paves the way for to possibly come to Everton. Obviously, we'll be talking about Carlo Ancelotti in a little bit, but, obviously it's a game tomorrow. We play Arsenal at Goodison Park, a real big opportunity for us to bounce back after what was, a really disappointing loss in midweek against Leicester in the Carabao Cup, of course, going out on penalties in such a heartbreaking fashion after, getting back into the game and showing loads of fight and showing loads of, urgency in the second half. It was really heartbreaking to lose that game like we did. But like I said, it's a massive opportunity this for us to bounce back and for us to go out there and put in another tough, hard-working performance against a team like Arsenal who are not doing well at the moment whatsoever. And Arsenal are a team that I firmly believe if you go out and if you work your arse off and if you constantly are at them and you're constantly breaking down and you're giving every single bit of energy you have, they'll struggle because they don't match your energy, because they simply don't work hard enough, in my opinion. But having said that, they're a very good team with, very good individual players, and, we know they can get results. So it will be a tough game for Everton tomorrow. Possibly Duncan Ferguson's last game in charge of Everton, at least for the time being anyway. Obviously, the latest news is that Carlo Ancelotti is set to sign his contract with Everton today. He was at Napoli on Wednesday, I believe, making sure that he could get the final arrangements done to get him out of that contract. His legal representatives come to a deal with Napoli, and apparently, according to the Telegraph and various other news sources, he is due to sign his contract today with Everton. He's due to be at Goodison Park tomorrow to watch the game, and then I think he's going to be unveiled on Monday to the media. So we mightn't know whether he's officially the manager until Monday. I'm sure we'll get a big hint of that if he's at Goodison Park tomorrow, because he will undoubtedly be pictured at Goodison Park, especially with the game being on television. Or the club might come out a little bit later on today after he's officially signed it and said, look, he's signed and he'll be unveiled on Monday. We'll have to wait, but we've still got a little bit to wait on that one. But it's not really about Carlo Ancelotti tomorrow, is it? It's about Duncan Ferguson, again, a man that's come in a really tough time for Everton Football Club. You only have to look at our last 5 games. We've played Leicester twice, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, and considering Duncan Ferguson took over an Everton team that were very low in confidence. The morale was very low. They weren't really playing for each other. Didn't look like they were playing for the fans. And he's taken over that team and he's instilled this mentality of always going out and always working your absolute arse off and always putting in a shift for the shirt, to the point where the players are losing games now and being genuinely upset about it and crying about it. Whereas 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago under Marco Silva, players would lose a game and he wouldn't seem bothered, to the point where we're going 2-0 down in a game purely because we're tired, because we've done so much over such a short period of time, and instead of just letting our heads stop and sulking about it and believing that we've lost, we're picking ourselves back up and getting ourselves back into games, and that for me is exactly the mentality that Duncan Ferguson's brung. And we always knew that Duncan Ferguson was only going to be here for a short period of time, and we always knew that he wasn't likely to take over as the permanent manager or manager to the end of the season, because I don't think he wants that role. And the club, obviously, as soon as they announced that he was going to be the interim, said that somebody else is going to come in the near future. We're looking for another manager. But I don't think any Evertonian really expected the impact that Duncan Ferguson's had on the team to happen. Not only the results that we've had, we haven't lost a game in 90 minutes under Duncan Ferguson, and when you look at the teams that were played, Manchester United at Old Trafford, which is notoriously a tough game. Chelsea at Goodison Park, Chelsea are a team who are in decent form this season. Leicester at Goodison Park again. Leicester, a team in really good form, and I know ultimately they beat us on penalties at the end of it, but didn't beat us over the 90 minutes. And I think, like I said, if you'd have said to any Evertonian, including myself, 3, 4 or 5 weeks ago, you're going to get what? If it was a Premier League game last night, you're going to get 5 points out of those 3 games. I think a lot of us would have gone, you're dreaming, mate, you're absolutely teaming. We'd be lucky to get a point out of any of them. But, Duncan Ferguson's come in, and like I said, it's not just the results, it's the performances, and it's the level that the players have been playing at, the fact that they've been given 110%, they've been fighting for the badge, they've been fighting for the fans. And, where Wednesday night was even more heartbreaking, not only did we lose on penalties, penalties, and not only did we crash out after coming back into the game, but when was the last time we seen Everton fight back like that in the second half? When was the last time we seen Everton constantly going and always believing in themselves and not giving up? And that's the type of mentality that Duncan Ferguson's instilled in these players. He said himself in his pre-game press conference today he doesn't want to comment on who the new manager is, doesn't want to comment on Ancelotti because he only knows as much as we know. I don't really believe that. I think he knows more, but that's what he said. But what he did say is he knows the players more than anybody, and I'm absolutely made up that if the rumours are true that are floating around the media and that are floating around the journalists, Carlo Ancelotti is going to be having Duncan Ferguson on as his assistant manager, as well as his son, obviously, because of that connection that he's got with the players and because of that connection he's got with the football club. And I just want to personally say a thank you to Duncan Ferguson, because over the last 2 weeks since Marco Silva's left the club, Marco Silva left the club at a point where I think a lot of Evertonians, I wouldn't say started to fall out of love with the club, but I think they started to, the club started to lose touch with the fans, like what happens in modern day football, doesn't it? Where, players aren't like they used to be, where they'd get on the bus with you or they'd be in a pub having a pint with you. It's all, it's very, very different in this day and age, and sometimes you do just feel like you're a customer watching somebody that you've paid to watch, and, it shouldn't be like that, and it should be that togetherness of the players and the fans having that family feeling and that we all fight for each other, and that's exactly what Duncan Ferguson's brought back. And, the last 3 games of being an Evertonian really have felt like that old Everton that we used to have, where we'd all go together. There wouldn't just be 11 players on the pitch, there'd be 40,000 fans as well that were spurring the team on, and the team was spurring the fans on as well. And that's exactly what the last 3 games have felt like, and that's because Duncan Ferguson has instilled that mentality into these players, and he showed it on the sideline as well. He showed that he is a fan of the football club. But not only that, a lot of people I think were a little bit dubious when Duncan Ferguson come in and thought, well, okay, we know he's going to have the passion. We know he's probably going to give it the all. We know the players, like him and are used to him because he's been around. But is he going to have the tactical prowess to get us through certain games and get us out of certain situations? And I think he's proven on a couple of occasions that he does have the tactical prowess. I've gone on my predicted starting 11 as a 4-3-3, and we'll talk about it in a second. But Duncan Ferguson realised that the 4-4-2 wasn't working on Wednesday night, and he switched it to a 4-4-3. He brought Moise Keane on after obviously what happened at Old Trafford. Moise Keane was working his arse off. He was trying to get involved. He was doing his best. And he's done that before as well. Again, even the Moise Keane situation at Old Trafford was very tactical. He brought him on, he realised it wasn't the player he needed, so he took him off, and he had the bollocks to do that. And big praise goes to Duncan Ferguson for the situation that we're currently in, and probably a lot of the reasons to why Ancelotti's looking at the football club and thinking, what, I could do something with that, is because of what he'll have watched over the last couple of games and what he'll have seen of Duncan Ferguson. He obviously has watched us, and he obviously understands Duncan Ferguson's way of managing and way of being about the players, because he wants them on board, because he believes that is so special. So I just want to say a big thank you to Duncan Ferguson. I know he's probably not watching this, and I know he probably will never see this, but a big thank you to Duncan Ferguson, because you've certainly made me, and I assume I speak for a lot of Evertonians, whether you're watching this or you don't watch this, whether you go to the match or you don't go to the match, you've made us feel like what it's like to be a proper support Everton Football Club again, and that's exactly what we want. We know as Evertonians we're not going to be the club that have got every single one of the top players in world football that are going out and breezing past teams week in, week out, and absolutely battering teams. But the minimum we expect is 110% effort, and the minimum we expect is for those players to go out and fight for that badge, and fight for each other, and fight for the fans. And if you haven't got a lot of quality, if you're lacking in quality, and if you play a bad pass or you lose the ball, then as long as you're running your ass off to win that ball back and you're helping the team out, then we can't say a negative thing about it. And that's exactly what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I honestly didn't think we'd see that with this bunch of players, because of the type of performances we've seen under Marco Silva and previous managers. But obviously Duncan Ferguson's got them together, and like I said, it may well be his last game in charge of Everton for the time being. I assume he'll be an Everton manager at some point in the future, but for the time being it might be his last game in charge. And there's a couple of reasons as to why we need to bounce back, not only because of that, and the atmosphere will be absolutely electric at Goodison Park tomorrow, because they'll know that, especially if Ancelotti's in the stadium. Fans, including myself, will be well up for the game, because of that reason, and because of the fact that it's Duncan Ferguson's last game in charge, and he deserves a top performance, and he deserves a top result tomorrow. And listen, you know what? It didn't work in the first half on Wednesday, and that's why I've swapped the formation. Duncan Ferguson swapped it on Wednesday night. I've gone for a 4-3-3 myself. We'll get straight into the predicted starting 11, because there's absolutely no point in wasting any time. I'll get into the live comments in just a second, don't worry. If you're enjoying the live stream, by the way, please do hit that like button, get it shared to all your socials as well. Let's get as many people involved as we possibly can. Bear with me just a couple of seconds while I tweet today's stream out. If you're new to the channel as well, please do subscribe. It literally only takes a second. Give me 2 seconds. Wayne says, what's up, Cam? 3 points tomorrow. I think we should play Richarlison on the right as there is short at left-back options. Yeah, I'd love to see Richarlison at the right. I'm going to go through the team, like I said, because, you know, I've put a couple of changes in there, including the formation, and I've based this team off the fact that, well, off the hope, really, that Jabril Sadiba and Gylfi Sigurdsson are still fit, or not are still fit, and now fit. Obviously, they've been struggling from a bug. Duncan Ferguson had his pre-game press conference today, and he said that there's still an illness within the camp, but he's hopeful of having players back. Now, obviously, Jabril Sadiba and Gylfi Sigurdsson neither featured on Wednesday in any capacity, so I would like to hope that they would at least be in and around the squad. And I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal to start. Obviously, he made a couple of, you know, good saves on Wednesday night. Few people maybe aren't impressed with him this season, aren't very happy with his performances, and I think that's completely fair enough, but he definitely made a couple of decent saves on Wednesday night, and for me, you know, there wouldn't be a reason to take him out. I've gone for a back four of Leighton Baines at left back. Absolutely wonderful finish on Wednesday night. One of the best goals you'll probably ever see from a player in an Everton shirt, assuming that Luca Dean has still got that injury. I've gone with Leighton Baines at left back, Mason Holgate and Yerry Mina through the centre, and Jabril Sadiba at right back. It's nothing genuinely personal on Seamus Coleman. I understand Seamus Coleman's having to have injections to make himself fit, so I would just necessarily put 2 and 2 together and say, if you know, if Jabril Sadiba is past this illness and, you know, he's past fit and he's got rid of the illness and he's 100%, then surely he'd play ahead of, you know, a Seamus Coleman that's still struggling with injury. Plus, Seamus did get exposed a couple of times when having to stand next to pace on Wednesday night. Trying to go, you know, 1-for-1 with Jamie Vardy and trying to beat him with pace was just an absolutely ridiculous decision, and it very nearly cost us a goal. So I've gone for Jabril Sadiba in there at right back. Centre backs obviously Mina, and I've gone for Mason Holgate. I've taken Michael Keane out there. I just don't think Michael Keane's playing with confidence at the minute. I think Michael Keane's struggling massively, not only his performances, but like I said, his confidence is rock bottom, and in a game like this where we massively need to bounce back against, you know, we can sit here and we can say Arsenal have been poor recently, and, you know, they haven't been able to sting a performance in, and some of the players might be happy there, but at the end of the day, they've still got a real dangerous front three. You know, Pepe, who we know is a goal scorer, Aubameyang, who is a clinical goal scorer, one of the best in world football, and whether they play Martinelli, who have been very impressed with this season, or Lacazette, the 3 players there that can hit you, and 3 players that have got pace, real amounts of pace, and I don't really fancy Michael Keane being put up against any one of them, because I just think they'll switch him too quickly, and I just think they'll get him behind him too many times. Whereas if you put Mason Holgate there in the centre of the defence, I think he brings that pace. Yerry Mina brings the brain, I think, and the physicality, whereas I think Mason brings the pace, and you know, I just fear that Yerry Mina and Michael Keane are a little bit too similar, and I don't think that'll work in our favour tomorrow afternoon, against Arsenal. So I've put Mason Holgate back in there next to Yerry Mina with obviously Michael Keane's up to the bench. Now that only works if we've got a midfield fit enough. Fabian Delph may or may not be involved, we don't know yet. Same with Gylfi Sigurdsson. So I've gone for a midfield 3 of Tom Davies, Alex Iwobi and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Tom Davies' goal didn't get enough praise the other day. I'm going to say it now, you know, it was overshadowed by what was an absolutely unbelievable finish from Leighton Baines. It was an unbelievable finish, let's have it right, but I think Tom Davies' goal was fantastic. It was well worked, and the finish itself coming in, it's tough to put the ball in the back of the net like that. You know, it was near enough behind him, and he volleyed it in, and I think it was a fantastic finish. So Tom Davies is pretty much a cert in this team, in this starting 11 tomorrow. Gylfi Sigurdsson again is another one that may or may not be involved due to being injured, may or may not be injured. If he's fit, again, a little bit like Jabril Sadiba, if he shook this illness off, if he's back, then, you know, personally, I'd like to see him back in there. I think he had a really good game against Chelsea before he come out through the illness. Obviously, you know, we know Gylfi Sigurdsson can play well when he tries his arse off, and I know he's a player that can provide a little bit of quality at times, but for me, Gylfi Sigurdsson too many times this season just hasn't looked interested whatsoever. He hasn't looked like he's wanting to play. He hasn't looked like he's wanting to run around and put himself about, and, you know, the Merseyside derby is an absolute example of that. He went 28 minutes without touching the ball in a Merseyside derby for a centre attacking midfielder. That's absolutely criminal. But again, give him his due. When he played against Chelsea, Duncan Ferguson's first game in charge, I thought he played really well. So I've gone for Gylfi back in there if he is fit. Again, we're very short on midfield options, and for me, if we've got Gylfi Sigurdsson fit, or if we've got Fabian Delph fit, I'd put them back in there for the sake of dropping Mason back in the centre half position and taking Michael Keane out there, because I just don't think Michael Keane's confident at the minute. I've then gone with Alex Iwobi. Now I understand Alex Iwobi didn't have his greatest game against Leicester on Wednesday. Again, He's been poor on the ball now for, a couple of weeks. He was poor on the ball against Manchester United as well. But again, what Alex Iwobi gives you is he gives you that movement, he gives you that freedom, he runs around, he gets himself about, and yes, he's very, very frustrating when he's got the ball, and sometimes he gives away clumsy fouls. But again, when you look at our team currently and you look at how depleted the squad is and what Duncan Ferguson's having to work with, not only is he having to work with a group of players that have not done nothing but ran their arse off for the last 2 weeks that are absolutely shattered, but he's also having to play with a squad that's really, really weak. We've hardly got a midfield, we've hardly got any defensive options. So for me, I think Alex Iwobi again is another one of those players that, due to the fact that he is fit and due to the fact that he does run around and he does create space, he's more than likely going to get in this in this starting 11. If Andre Gomez was fit, if Jean-Philippe Gbamin was fit, etc., maybe he wouldn't be in the midfield, but the reality is those players aren't, so he's more than likely going to get in there. And I've gone for a front three of Richarlison on the right, Richarlison on the left, Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the right, bloody hell, I'm literally looking at the screen now and I can't get it right. Richarlison on the left, Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front, and Moise Kean on the right. Now again, Richarlison pretty much picks himself. I thought he had a decent game the other night. What Richarlison, when he lacks in creating opportunities or scoring goals, he definitely makes up with his work rate. He runs around, he gets himself about, and he throws a tackle in, and he very, very nearly got a goal within the opening 2 to 5 minutes the other night. He nicked it past the goalkeeper, and it was just unlucky that it just didn't go on target. Dominic Calvert-Lewin again, first half was poor against Leicester, didn't really do enough, but neither did any of the front 3 or 4. If you include the wingers. But again, second half came alive. Very similar performance to the one against Manchester United, which obviously seen him earn the man of the match, and the one against Chelsea, which again seen him get the man of the match and 2 goals. So Dom starts up front, and I've got for Moise Kean on the right. Now again, not many options we've got on the wing. Obviously we've got Bernard there, who's coming back to form. I think he was poor against Leicester. He didn't really do enough. He gave the ball away a few too many times, and obviously ultimately he was taken off at half time. Theo Walcott's still out injured. Now you could put Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the right and Keane up front. You could put Iwobi on the left and Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the right, but again, I just think with Iwobi's better performances in an Everton shirt have been in the centre of the midfield, and I just don't really understand why, if we're lacking midfielders and Iwobi's fit, why we'd want to take him out of that position when his best performances have been in that position. Now I understand that he mightn't have been fantastic, in the last couple of games, and it mightn't be ideal that he's starting because his confidence might be, rock bottom, but at the end of the day, if he's fit, he's going to play, because we've got such a depleted squad, and we've got a squad full of players that, are injured at the minute or are suffering from illness or whatever else. So I've gone for Moise Kean on the right. Now again, I wasn't massively impressed when I seen Moise Kean on the right earlier on the season when he started at Goodison Park. I think he done okay when he come on against Leicester. He worked hard, I'll give him that. He got his head up and he worked hard, and I think with Moise Kean now we sort of just have to get behind him. We sort of just have to understand that it is going to be a frustrating time, and his confidence is rock bottom, and it was rock bottom when he got taken off against Manchester United. And by the way, I had no issue with Duncan Ferguson doing what he done at Old Trafford, because I think it was right for the team, and it's all about, it's about the team at the end of the day. It's not about the player. He come on at half time against Leicester, he didn't really do an awful lot. He did take a man on in really, really good fashion and put a good ball in for Calvert-Lewin, who just headed it over the bar, which was very unlucky. On another day I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin finishes that. But again, when you look at Moise Kean, obviously, yes, his confidence is on the floor. Yes, his performances haven't been, tip top, but he's fit at the end of the day. And, Bernard massively struggled for me against Leicester and showed that he's still lacking fitness and he's still not quite ready yet. And again, when you're playing against an Arsenal team that will, be running around and will be wanting to impress because they've got a new manager there, whether he's on the touchline or not, tomorrow afternoon, it doesn't matter. They know that there's good things to come, or there's positive things to come in the future, and there's a fresh start. You need to be having your players in there that are fit and able to run around. And I know Moise Kean come under some criticism against Manchester United because he didn't look fit, and he looked like he was struggling, and he looked like he was gassing, but again, he put a real good shift in on Wednesday night, and he had a good 45 minutes in him. So for me, I think it may be a little bit more sensible to start Moise Kean and then maybe bring Bernard off the bench in the last, half an hour, 25 minutes, when you can have that injection of pace and he's not going to be knackered from having to run around. Anyway, that's my predicted starting 11. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. If you're watching live, let me know your thoughts in the live comments. I'll dive straight back into them now because I haven't spoken about them. We're 20 minutes in and I've hardly read the comments, so let's get into them right now. David says 11 million a year and 100 million to spend. Going to be an interesting few months. Certainly will be. Wade says 100 million won't buy a lot these days. It'll hopefully buy a centre midfield in the centre half. Wade also said, you actually believe Machedi owns Everton? Because I believe it's always been Uzbrov and Machedi was being used as a front man. I think Usmanov's in some form. I think Macheri does, well, obviously he does. He owns, he's a majority shareholder at the football club, but I definitely think Usmanov's involved. Gord says, Big Dunk really brought back the fight and passion the fans wanted under Silva. He has. David says, Usmanov got involved after Arsenal, but yet he's putting his hands in his pocket, no doubt. Spot on. Cal says, Keane, not happy with Keane, fair enough. Wayne says, Duncan Ferguson should watch the Mighty Blues, way better than Toffee TV. Thank you very much, Wayne, do appreciate that. I love the guys at Toffee TV, so I'm not going to go into them. I think they're boss. But fair enough. Gord says, would you expect Ancelotti to keep Duncan as an assistant manager? Well, the rumour is that Duncan Ferguson will be kept on as assistant along with Ancelotti's son David. Apparently the two of them will take the roles of assistant manager. Again, David's, Ancelotti's son. Not only is he Ancelotti's son, but he's been the assistant manager through, many of Ancelotti's last few clubs. And obviously Duncan Ferguson knowing Everton Football Club and to understand that he's got an Everton Football Club, I think, it's fantastic for Ancelotti to recognise that and to, if he does come in, to put Duncan Ferguson in there as the assistant. Dave says 100 million plus any sales, so I could see 150 million spent. That's the centre-back, centre midfielder and striker sorted. Let's hope so. Carl says we don't need a striker. I think we do. I think we need a prolific goal scorer. Whether we'll get one in January, I don't know. But I'd also like to see a striker come in that's proven to help the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Moise Keane. Wayne says we need a goal scoring centre-back, Kessie and Jared Bowen. David says, sorry Carl, I don't class Tosh and Oniasi as strikers. Wayne says 2 centre-backs, Keane as dog poop. Carl says Jared Bowen is a winger and Kessie is a CDM. Carl says David DCL. Wayne says I know we need them both. David says DCL will never be a 20-goal season striker. He might be, but he's not now. Wayne says centre mid. Sorry, Carl. Carl says Kessie is just like Norman Schneiderlin, would be a waste of money. Fair point. Carl says Moise Keane won't even be a 1-goal a season striker. We'll see, won't we? We'll have to see. Wayne says, nah, Carl, he's a goal-scoring beast. Network Michael D, it's John on his channel. John, hope you're doing well. He says, if we play like we did against Chelsea and United, Arsenal don't stand a chance. I agree with you, spot on. David says, not if he doesn't play. Lavert says, aware of the attraction that players will give their right hand to play for Carlo. I think it's obviously unrealistic to expect top 6 signings even in the summer. Who do you think we can get in January? I really don't know. It's a tough question because, one side of me wants to say a load of quality players that'll want to come and play for Carlo Ancelotti, and one side of me wants to say, not a lot of quality players because it's the January transfer window and the position that we're in as a football club. But I really don't know to answer your question. Carl says Keane has played over 10 games, no goals, and he's a waste of 27 million. Fair point. David says less than 400 minutes, Carl. Carl says David doesn't matter, he was in the back pocket of Lincoln's defence. Not a fan of Moise Keane, are you, Carl? Wayne says Carl could have got Dosper Kalberg, same money. I really like Dosper Kalberg. I'd love him at Everton. Mitchell says, don't be surprised if you see DCL, Davis, Holgate, Key get absolutely binned by Ancelotti. This is a massive step down from what he's used to, and I think he'll want upgrades immediately. Well, he's being told, he's being told as part of his contract, he's going to get an awful lot of money to spend, and he's going to be able to rebuild the squad, and he's going to be able to make the squad as to what he wants. And I think that's only positive news, because at the end of the day, when you have a manager come in and they're at the stature of Carlo Ancelotti, and they've got a long list of players that they could potentially bring in, you'd want to see them bring them in, especially if they're Champions League proven quality footballers. Why would we not bring them in? Carl says we should have stayed with DCL. Key card shoots pass off as nothing. David says both FIFA and UEFA rate Keane, didn't see DCL on the list. Lavert says I think Moise Keane is the right man at the wrong time. Fair point, very fair point. Wayne says swap with Charlton for Keane and Gordon for Iwobi. Then that team Iwobi stunk the place out on Wednesday. Maybe Anthony Gordon will get his opportunity. I don't know. Again, he done well when he come on Wednesday. Didn't really have an awful lot to do, but he done what he needs to do, and he done it well. Carl says David Keane was playing with Ronaldo against Champions League 1 tiers, scored an open net inside and missed 2 chances against Liverpool, was in Lincoln's back pocket and Watford and Palace. Wayne says can't carry a Iwobi when he plays like that. Knap needs to be dropped, same with Keane. Carl says I want a new right back, new centre mid, that I want John McGinn and Kenny Lala. John McGinn's a very, very good player. I would love John McGinn. Carl says Cam for assistant manager. Wayne says you got a cold, mate, get well soon, enjoy your Christmas and New Year, can't wait for January to be yourself. I'm still suffering with a cold, I'm sure you can probably hear it. I do apologise about that. Carl says his attitude is a joke. He is better, and sorry Wayne, you enjoy your Christmas and New Year as well, thank you very much. Carl says attitude is a joke, and he's better than everyone, doesn't work hard enough, and Ancelotti wants the squad to be around Dean and Richarlison and Keane. Yeah, I read that today. I read that in a paper that Ancelotti, one of his promises that, you know, he had to be made before he come in as Everton manager, if he comes in as Everton manager, that still is, that he, you know, he wants to build a squad around, you know, Luka Dean, Richarlison and Moise Keane massively in his plans as well. And you know what, I've got absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. You know, three, I think for me, two very, very good players and one very young player that I think can become very, very good in the near future. So I've got, you know, no issue with that. But yeah, listen, tomorrow for me, it's about Duncan Ferguson. It's about Everton Football Club going out there, you know, putting in a top performance, because we massively need a reaction, because, you know, Wednesday night's game was hard. It was hard to take. It was really heartbreaking to take. You know, the loss on penalties after coming back into the game and performing so well in the second half, and showing that we've got fight, showing that we've still got passion, and showing that we're not going to lie down and we're not going to give up. And that's exactly what Duncan Ferguson told the team to do on Wednesday, and that's exactly what he done. And it was heartbreaking to lose the game in the way that we did, but, you know, we need to bounce back now. Duncan Ferguson said it himself in his pre-game press conference. The lads know that they need to step up and they need to, you know, get over Wednesday's result and go out there and put in a performance tomorrow. And hopefully the lads do that. Listen, Arsenal are in the greatest form at the minute. They're struggling themselves, but they're a team that, you know, have just appointed the new manager. Regardless of whether he'll be in charge tomorrow, he's just come in, so the players will know that. The players will know there's a fresh start on the horizon, and they'll want to impress their new manager, who I assume will be at Goodison Park in some form or another tomorrow. And we need to do the same, because if our new manager's in Goodison Park tomorrow, if Carlo Ancelotti's sitting there in the stadium watching these lads, then they need to put in a performance to say to Carlo, listen, I'm good enough to stay in this team and I'm good enough to be at this football club. So if you're coming in and you're going to be, you know, chopping and changing and bringing your own players in, then I'm good enough to stay. And that's the type of reaction they need, as well as obviously playing for Duncan Ferguson. It might be Duncan Ferguson's last game in charge of Everton, and I think these lads need to go out and you know, put in a performance for him, because that's exactly what he deserves. He's done a fantastic job since taking over as interim manager. He's put back that Everton feeling back into the club, with not only the players but the fans as well, and letting us fans really feel like what it's like to be an Evertonian again, and fighting for every ball and fighting for every challenge, and putting the ball in the back of the net, and almost having the fans suck the ball into the back of the net. And I think that's what they done on Wednesday night, and let's hope there's more of it tomorrow afternoon as well. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It would mean a massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel as well, please do subscribe. It only takes a second. I'll be back with the instant match reaction straight after the game tomorrow. So straight after about 10 minutes after the final whistle, once I get home, I'll be doing the instant match reaction. So don't forget to check that out. It'd mean an absolute bomb to me if you did that. Like I said, please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed the stream, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We'll have the instant match reaction tomorrow, and then the live game review on Monday night as well. And then obviously it's Christmas week. We've got loads of content over Christmas, because we play loads of times over Christmas as well. So we'll still have the game previews, reviews, as well as it's the match reaction there as well. So big thanks for watching. Carl says, Delph got a footman's card on FIFA and we better not sell DCL. He did. David says, DCL is part of the Garbutt deal to Ipswich. Don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going anywhere. Carl says he's class. Wade says, Zlatan said no to Everton. Are you asked that won't be losing any sleep? Again, that's just a rumour that he said no because he wants to go back to AC Milan, but other rumours says he wants to join Ancelotti, so, you know, who knows. David says, DCL will be in the Championship. I think he's a lot better than Championship striker. Carl says, our second top goal scorer, our 35-year-old left-back, has scored more than Moise Keane in 2 games. Eugene says, see you bye, up the toffees, Eugene, thank you very much. Wayne says, respect, have a good evening, thank you very much, Wayne, really appreciate that. And Carl says, Zlatan hasn't said no. We don't know what Zlatan's thinking, do we? I think we'll only know Zlatan's decision when he comes in and he's standing with the Everton shirt. David says, nice one, can't blow your nose. Yeah, I'm going to go and absolutely blow my nose, because, as I'm sure you can tell, I'm full of it. I'm absolutely full of it. Anyway, big thanks for watching. Please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed the stream. Big game tomorrow for Everton. Big game for Duncan Ferguson. Maybe his last one in charge for quite some time. So let's hope that we go out there and we show a reaction to the result on Wednesday night, and we go and get the 3 points, and hopefully impress the possible new manager that may or may not be sitting in the stands. Carl says, if you couldn't tell, I dislike Keane. And God says, up the fucking topics. Yeah. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to join me tomorrow for the instant match reaction. Thanks very much, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.